Welcome to my YouTube channel. I go by the name OCS, and today we're going to be talking about facts about Africa that you didn't know. So today I'm going to be telling you about facts, what have been happening in Africa and you didn't know. So before we continue, make sure you subscribe, turn on the notification, tell a friend to tell a friend. Boom. Fact number 1. Did you know that the only country in the world with its capital having a national park is Kenya from Africa? Nairobi City is the only city in the world with a national park. That is fact number 1 that you didn't know. Fact number 2. Ivory Coast is the largest cocoa producer in the whole world. That's insane, right? Ivory Coast. I thought it was even Ghana. Ivory Coast is the only country in the world that produces the largest amount of cocoa in the whole world. Another fact, Nelson Mandela was the first African president to win a Nobel Peace Prize. The first to ever do it. That is another fact. Another fact is Professor Wangari Maathai from Kenya was the first African woman to win a Nobel Peace Prize. Who would imagine that? A professor from Kenya who was just a member of parliament. He was an environmentalist. For those people who don't know her, he was an environmentalist. Another fact, Musa Mansa from Mali was the wealthiest person in the history of humankind. He was the wealthiest person to ever exist. From Mali, from Africa. Who would imagine that? And that is a fact. No capping. That is a fact. Another fact is Sebastian Sawe from Kenya was the first human being to run in a 42-kilometer marathon, a full marathon, under 2 hours. Kipchoge had done it, but he ran in a controlled environment. But for Sebastian Sawe, it was in a competitive marathon, and he ran under 2 hours. That is very credible. That is very insane, and that is good for Africa as a whole. Another fact is Somalia is the only country in Africa with the largest coastline. That's crazy, right? Somalia have the largest coastline among the countries in Africa. It has the largest coastline. No one would ever imagine that. The last fact I'm gonna tell you is that Zimbabwe, the first president of Zimbabwe, is not Robert Mugabe. The first president of Zimbabwe is Canaan Banana. Fuck. I thought it was Robert Mugabe because we grew up knowing that it was Robert Mugabe. Little did we know that it was Canaan Banana. We didn't know about that. We were not taught about that. I think we were taught that Mugabe was the first president, if I remember very well, back in primary school. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm right. Make sure you check out our next video. Make sure you subscribe to this video. Watch, tell a friend to tell a friend. Boom. Bye-bye.